this is Big Bang Crypto. My name is Sam and welcome to another episode. Yeah, it's been a while since I made the last video, although I said I will make more videos from now on, but honestly I didn't see a reason to make a new video because there was nothing special to talk about. Everything that I said in my previous video is still playing out, so everything is okay. But today we had this nice pump all the way up from approximately $7,090 all the way up to nearly $8,000 on the futures chart. And now what is interesting is that we came all the way back down inside of this falling wedge formation that I have right here. I don't see a lot of people talking about this formation, and I don't know why, because I think this is the formation we're in, and it makes sense to me because when we break out of this falling wedge formation, this could bring us all the way up to these levels, to close to $10,000 again. So this is quite interesting, and I'm waiting for this thing to break out. And at the moment it looks like this was a false breakout, and we're back inside of it again below this downwards trend line. What is really interesting, so in the next hours and days I will see if Bitcoin is able to break above this downwards trend line and move again above $7,800, which is a very important level in my opinion. Now, there are also some people who were talking about a gap in the futures chart, and yeah, it is this one right here, this gap right here, and a lot of people talked about it, that it will get filled. And now what we can see is that yes, it got filled, and now we're back down. So yeah, now what is the reason for that? I think a lot of people were expecting us to move all the way up and fill this gap, and then they had their sell orders at this point. And yeah, so as you can see, from nearly $8,000, now we're back down to $7,500. So nearly $500 drop, which is really big considering this movement. And yeah, now we have to wait and see if Bitcoin starts to move up again, or it will start to come back down. And in this video I want to show you why I think that it is more likely to see Bitcoin come back down and not to move upwards. But I want to give you the key levels that you have to watch and keep in mind in the next hours. So, well, important is to see if Bitcoin is able to move above $7,600, $800. So in fact moving above this blue resistance line. Now if we go to this chart right here, which is my fib circle chart, then what you can see is this is a downward trend line that I talked about in one of my previous videos and in the Discord channel as well, this orange line right here. And quite interesting is that Bitcoin came up to this point, to this orange line and this white resistance line right here, and this is the point where we have this pullback. And if you take a look at this white line where it comes from, then as you can see we have many points of contact at the beginning of this year. So it played a major role, and then again it played a major role when we had this drop down to $7,400. It played a bigger role, and now it is also playing a role, and Bitcoin came up to this point and to this orange line, and is now again below this falling wedge, or inside of this falling wedge formation and below this downwards trend line. So this means to me that not only we have to move above this blue trend line again, so moving above, let's say $7,600, we also have to move above this white line, which is at $7,800 approximately. And I think moving above $7,800 is a very, very important level, because this is for me whether we have to start thinking bullish or still be bearish, because as you can see, the last time we crossed this white line we had a nice pump up, and which brought us all the way up to $14,000. So this white line, this resistance line here, is really, really important in my opinion. And yeah, we have to keep an eye on it. So like I said, when we are able to move above $7,800, when we're able to move above it and stay above it, this is important, then I think that we could see the next really nice pump. And this really makes sense to me, because I already talked about my Fib circles in my previous video, and I mean, every time I see it, it's just amazing. So what you can see is this Fib circle right here. This is the same Fib circle up there, all right? And now look, the last time we crossed it at this point, we started with nice green days. We came up to this Fib circle, to the same Fib circle, tested it, it was resistance. Again, we tested it, it was resistance. And then we start to come down. We had this green day. And now, I mean, please look at what is happening right here. So we fell below it, then we started to come up, we tested it again. Now, then we started to come down, and yes, and now we have this green day. And yeah, so it is so crazy similar. And I told you that when you have the right Fib circle constellation or setup, then quite often, or let's say very often, in my opinion, very often, what happens after you cross a Fib circle is nearly the same that happened when you crossed it for the first time. So this is something that is really, really yeah, amazing. And as you can see right here, this is what is going on. And now what does that mean? Well, the last time we crossed it, like I said, we came up to the same Fib circle. It was too big resistance, and then we start to come back down, and look where we came back down to. We came back down to the same level, nearly the same level. So if we zoom in, what you can see is this is the one level, and here we're slightly above it, but we came very close to it. So what I could imagine, but this is now not for 100%, but something I could imagine, if we stay below this blue downwards trend line, is that we come down close to this point right here, so close to $6,500, and it's likely for me to find support on this red circle right here, which is a very strong circle, and to come down to this level. So this would be at 6,800. Maybe we have a wick below it to this line right here. This would be at $6,600. Still, we would make a higher low compared to this one, and then we come back up and move above this downwards trend line, and then even break these levels right here at $7,800. And yeah, this could be the start of a bullish trend reversal, what I think is very likely. So I mean, a lot of people talking about all the bearish signs, the 200 MA and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's true, we can't deny it, but from what I see here, Bitcoin is exactly doing what it did in the last 10 years. Everything is okay in my opinion. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Bitcoin really shows us it is making higher lows. We have this trend reversal. And what I think is that at the end of this year, of this month, and January of next year, we will have this really nice bullish trend and see the second wave. This is my opinion. I think it is really possible from what the chart is showing us. I mean, we have this bearish trend now for a very long time. It's been a couple of months, and these downwards trend lines normally, in the most cases, they got broken upwards. So I think this will happen at some point, and I think we're getting closer and closer to this point. And so yeah, be prepared for it. I think right now, from what I'm seeing, I don't think that we will see a lower low. Now, this is not for sure. I mean, of course, you have to keep an eye on this. The last one was around $6,500. So yeah, if we see another low, well, this doesn't mean that we will even go lower than that. I think we're very close to the bottom of this first wave. Yeah, the trend reversal will come. What I think is likely is to see Bitcoin come down to this level right here, to close to this low. So like I said, $6,800 to $700 is a point for me, a buy target. And then to see Bitcoin starting to move up again. And I think at the end of this wave, at the end, the sign will be that we have a sideways movement, very low volatility, so nothing like this anymore. So it will really be kind of a horizontal movement with a very low volatility, and then it will just break out and yeah, move to the next wave. This is what I expect. And another chart that I showed you is this one right here. We have to take a look at it on the logarithmic chart. So what I showed you here is we have the beginning of Bitcoin on TradingView. It's in 2010. We have everything here. These fib circles really make sense to me. A lot of point of context and pivot points that showed a real big effect after crossing them. And so for the current movement right here, I have this orange fib circle. And in one of my videos, I told you when we crossed this fib circle, the last time we crossed it, look what happened. All right, we started to see green days and nice pumps. And now that we crossed it, look what happened. As soon as we crossed it, we have Bitcoin finally starting to move up again. Now, this doesn't mean that we will only see green days from here on, but it is, in my opinion, a reason to say, all right, we have now some fib circles that show us that we might see a bullish trend from now on. And when I see something like this, yes, then I think long term now, so this is important, long term from here on, we started the bullish trend again. And like I said, it's very interesting to see what happens after crossing these fib circles. So if you have a good fib circle constellation set up, then you can really see what kind of trend we're in at the moment. All right. And I mean, this fib circle is important. I mean, look what happened at this point right here. We came down to it. We found support many times on it. We had this big drop, found support on it, came back down, found support on it, and then start to move up again. Or at this point, we crossed it. We had this fight at that time, and then at some point we found really big support on it, and then we started to move upwards. And in my previous video, I told you when we cross this one, it doesn't mean that we will just start to yeah, ride it to the moon, but we will see some days of a fight, and then it will start to move higher and higher. And this is exactly what is happening. And so I think that, yeah, everything we're seeing now makes sense. Of course, if we start making lower lows, then this would be a bad sign, and then my theory might be invalid, but at the moment it just looks like that. And yeah, I think it really makes sense at this point. So yeah, I think that's it for the video. Well, just to say, before I forget it, I also have this chart right here. So I also talked about this chart in my previous video. So what you can see right here, Bitcoin is really moving inside of these channels, and now we found resistance on this red line right here, as you can see, and we're back inside of this channel. So maybe we see Bitcoin coming down to these levels right here and then start to come back and move above this resistance line. So and this orange line as well, as you can see, it played a bigger role when we had this price action at that time here. So if we go back, as you can see, it really played a big role. So, and this is at $7,800, this level right here. So this is really big resistance, and if Bitcoin is able to break this resistance, then we have the chance to see a nice bullish movement in the next days. Yeah, and finally about the altcoins, as you can see, altcoins showing some reaction and making nice gains over the last days. I think because this first wave is close to its end, the smart money will enter the market if it didn't already, and buy into the coins where they think they have the most potential. I mean, look at this engine. If you don't know engine, well, they have a big partnership with Samsung, and made a wallet for this for their handy and mobile phones, smartphones, and yeah. So as you can see, it's starting to move up. Now this doesn't mean that it won't come back down, but yeah, the good ones will show reaction. I mean, 20% today. This is really nice. Nexo always starts to move up. It's also a good project in my opinion. And yeah, if you want me to make a video about some altcoins like Sele, which is one of the altcoins that I always said have really high potential. Yeah, if you want me to make a video about some altcoins that I think have the most potential, then please let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, join our Discord channel to be updated when something important is going on. So thank you very much for your attention. Have a nice day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.